What if I told you that the most powerful human being in history began each morning fighting the same impulse to hide under the blankets that you and I do? What if I told you that a man with more wealth and power than Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and Bill Gates chose to live his life with the simplicity and focus of a monk? Today we'll delve deeply into Marcus Aurelius' thinking, a Roman emperor who, although controlling the fate of millions, consistently chose integrity over excess and virtue over sin. By the end of this film, you will not only know his tale, but also how a personal notebook, never intended for public viewing, became the most enduring self-help guide in human history. This isn't some dusty history lesson. This is a blueprint developed 1,800 years ago that has the potential to rewire how you live your life, beginning right now. The year was 161 AD. Marcus Aurelius became emperor of Rome, inheriting an empire ranging from the misty shores of Britain to the sun-baked beaches of Egypt. He had an infinite fortune. A single word from his lips may mean life or death. He could have drowned in a luxury that today's billionaires can only dream of. Marcus, however, was an anomaly. Every morning he did not reach for power, but for purpose. But what does that really mean? Simply expressed, it meant trying to be a nice person in any situation. Practicing honesty when lying was simpler, exhibiting patience when wrath was merited, choosing kindness above brutality. He consistently opted to serve something larger than himself, preferring the difficult right above the simple wrong. We frequently hear that power corrupts. Marcus Aurelius devoted his life to proving that statement untrue. He was not born in the purple. In 121 AD, he was born into a wealthy Roman family under the name Marcus Annius Verus. Emperor Hadrian, however, was drawn to his character rather than his genealogy. The aged monarch noticed something unusual in this disciplined teenager, a level of wisdom much above his 17 years. Hadrian then made a decision that changed the course of history. He engineered Marcus' adoption by the future emperor Antoninus Pius, but on one condition: Marcus would spend the next 2 decades acquiring philosophy rather than reigning. 20 years. We can't wait 20 minutes for food delivery without being anxious. While Marcus patiently waited 20 years to become the best human being he could be before becoming the most powerful, he devoured philosophical texts and immersed himself in Stoic concepts. When he finally ascended to the throne at the age of 40, his acts startled the establishment. No lavish parties. There are no narcissistic statues constructed in his honor. He established hospitals and schools. He shared ultimate control with his adopted brother, demonstrating that true strength is not hoarding power, but rather using it wisely. True power stems from mastering oneself, not others. Marcus' genuine genius, however, was hidden in his private thoughts rather than his public deed. Every night he wrote in his own notebook. These weren't grand remarks for an audience, but rather discussions with himself. He absorbed the day's obstacles, confronted his own concerns, and reminded himself of what was actually important. These writings, now known as Meditations, show a stunning truth. Marcus, despite his tremendous power, battled the same demons we face: toxic people, procrastination, stress, and self-doubt. The difference was that he created a mental operating system to manage them. A system based on Stoic philosophy that is as powerful today as it was 2 millennia ago. The essence of his ideology was deceptively simple. He felt you had control over your mind, not external occurrences. Realize this and you will gain strength. Can you control the economy? What about the weather? What does your boss or partner say? No, but you have complete control over one aspect: your reaction. A single shift in perspective can completely transform your life. Marcus split life into 2 distinct domains: what you can control, your thoughts, actions, and character, and what you can't, other people's behavior, the past, and random events in the universe. He focused all of his energy on the first column. When a terrible virus spread through the empire, killing millions, he did not lament or blame the gods. He coordinated medical relief, allocated supplies, and maintained order. When he encountered harsh criticism, he did not become defensive. He asked himself, is there any truth in this that I can learn from? If so, he has improved. If not, he dismissed it and moved on. This is the strength of Stoicism. It does not make life easier. Rather, it makes you stronger, allowing you to handle anything life throws at you. And life threw everything at Marcus. Only one of his 14 children lived into adulthood. His wife died young. His son Commodus, who would later become emperor, proved to be his entire opposite, cruel, egotistical, and erratic, which must have devastated Marcus' heart. During the epidemic, Marcus became dangerously ill. He realized the end was coming. However, he did not withdraw to a palace to wallow. He remained on the front lines until his last breath, dying in the midst of a military campaign and serving his country to the end. He never sacrificed his ideals, even in the face of personal tragedy and civic crisis. He never used his absolute power for vengeance or personal gain. So the question is, how can you apply a Roman emperor's knowledge to your 21st century life? 1. Prepare your mind at daybreak. Every morning, mentally prepare yourself. Tell yourself, today I will encounter difficult people, annoying problems, and unexpected setbacks. Don't perceive them as hurdles. Instead, consider them training grounds. 2. Master your perception. When anything goes wrong, pause and ask yourself, what can I learn here? What part of this is actually within my control? 3. Seek out discomfort. Occasionally, voluntarily forego comfort. Sleep on the floor, take a chilly shower, face the elements. These modest deeds create mental calluses. 4. Remember your mortality, memento mori. We'll all die. This is not morbid, it is liberating. It forces you to value today and not squander a single minute on things that aren't important. 5. Practice negative visualization. Imagine losing the things you take for granted, such as your health, loved ones, and house. This does not cause fear. Rather, it inspires deep thankfulness for what you already have. 6. Do a nightly self-review. Before going to bed, ask yourself, what did I do well today? What might I have done better? What have I learned? Marcus' thought isn't limited to ancient kings. This is for you. Whether you are a student, employee, entrepreneur, or parent. When stress overwhelms you, remember that you have control over your thinking, not external events. The enjoyment of your life is determined by the quality of your thinking. When you are criticized, remember that Marcus was also criticized. He accepted the truth and rejected the rest. When you're feeling overwhelmed, remember that this man bore the weight of an entire civilization and never lost his patience. When you're tempted to take a shortcut, remember this: Marcus had numerous opportunities to misuse his authority for a quick victory, but he always chose virtue. He chose the long, difficult path of integrity. The fundamental lesson from Marcus Aurelius' life is that true power is about dominating oneself rather than manipulating others. True riches comes from wanting what you already have rather than gaining more. True success entails turning up every day with discipline and purpose, and choosing to be a decent person regardless of the circumstances. Marcus Aurelius died more than 1,800 years ago, but his thoughts, scrawled in a secret journal, are more relevant now than ever. In a world of constant distraction, his theory of laser-focused attention serves as a guide. In an age of quick satisfaction, his patience inspires us. In a society of complaint and victimhood, his call for personal responsibility is a challenge. His final exhortation reverberates through the centuries. Be like the stony promontory on which the waves ceaselessly crash. It stands steadfast, containing the ferocity of the water around it. You have an option: virtue or vice, discipline or comfort, service or selfishness. You have the ability to transform your life. The only question that remains is whether you will actually use it. If you enjoyed this deep dive into history and human potential, please like and consider subscribing to The Inner Blade. We are here to help you strengthen your intellect and spirit. Now tell me in the comments, what is one area of your life where you need to improve your rocky headland strength right now?